Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scouser's morning coffee or tea with American Scouser. It is Friday, back in action. A reckless Friday it is, and so freaking reckless that nobody else is here. So flying solo today. Sergi might be joining us actually for a little bit here because we do have a lot of headlines actually to kind of address. For an international break. Let's put the disclaimer in there as well. But yeah, Friday, TGIFF, as we like to say, the international break. This one feels good morning, Alan, as everybody gathers around. We're live actually on Instagram today as well as YouTube and Twitter and all kinds of places. So as people gather around on Instagram, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff, Ryan is here with us as well. Good morning. So a lot to get to for an international break. Like I said, this is probably like the lamest international break in a while, though. I mean, I know there are some games for qualifiers, like we were talking with Mateusz on Monday, like Poland and Estonia and Greece and stuff like that. But everybody else is kind of like, meh. And you can kind of tell by the players too. Everybody's kind of like, my butt hurts, this hurts, not feeling it, and like people not showing up for or trying to get out of international duty. I know like Turkey has the same thing. People kind of like bailing, and I really don't blame them. A lot of the leagues have, with a few exceptions, maybe have like some really fierce title battles, and especially for players whose spot is kind of a guarantee in the national team, right? Like if they're going to go to the Euros, some of these guys already know they're going to be called to the Euros, so they can afford to focus on their, I guess, professional career, if you will, not the international one, which that's pro as well. And that's not like they're doing it for shits and giggles only. But still, like they can focus on the club and say, that's fine, you guys go practice. I'll join you guys at the Euros kind of a thing. But for those fringe players who's maybe trying to earn a squad spot to go to the Euros and be involved, those are the players I think that are kind of like busting ass. And I think a club like Liverpool, all our guys are like captains or regulars and stuff like that. I mean, Gomez would be like one that I was more concerned with. Like, there's only like a few players I can think of that can like see these games very crucial for their international career. Otherwise, Turkey actually plays Szoboszlai, Hungary later today. It's not like Szoboszlai is the captain. It's not like, if I don't do well today, I'm not going to be at the Euros or whatever. So I think there is that, which makes this international break even lamer than the other international breaks that we kind of like dread. So Ryan says international break right at the end of the season is just bad timing. I'd almost rather have all the leagues just take a week off. Yeah, this one is weird, right? I know it's mainly due to those qualifiers, to be honest with you, which is, I don't know, similar to what American sports do over here. They kind of, like an NBA, they added these two spots. They're like, hey, look, more people can be involved in the playoffs. So like people make being second, or like actually in this case, I think it's like being second or third in the groups more crucial. So it's like, I understand why it's there, but it does feel kind of out of place. There he is. Sergi is with us, rocking the American Scouser shirt to boot. What's happening?
Hey, Tim, how are you?
Not too shabby. Mateusz says Sobo's attitude is the same for Hungary and Liverpool. Man, I'll be fine no matter what. I think, yeah, it's kind of like an odd ordeal for some of these guys to be involved and like take part and stuff like that. So a couple of news to get to that I want to get you, now that you are here, Sergi, we can kind of like delve into together. One of them is something that we talked about a lot, actually, but let's start with this one right here. This just came out yesterday. Once I share it to the screen, yes, Mark Burchell will follow Richard Hughes to Liverpool. He's the chief scout over there, working with Richard. I mean, I think this is all a process of Edwards getting his guy getting his guy, basically people building their team. I mean, how do you see, when you see a news like that, like, how do you look at it? Good news, bad news?
If it was Brighton and we were taking all their stuff, I'd be a lot more happier. I don't know about Bournemouth. I mean, it can go one or two ways. I mean, if it doesn't work, there's a whole lot of people that we've got to fire.
See, I don't know. I feel like whenever something like this happens, right? Whether it's like a scouts or like a head of recruitments or even like, like Richard's position, I don't know. You can always look at it and say, in anybody's history, I mean, I've done a lot of hiring back in the day. So when you interview that many people, and when you look at that many people, there's going to be some guys that you found that maybe other people were like, really? I'm like, I see something in him. And then, you hire them. And there are some guys that you're probably going to pass on who turn out to be better later on. Maybe they weren't as good when you interviewed them and they learned along the way. But I feel like it's the same way. Whenever the name comes up like this, people are like, he is the guy who found this guy, this guy, this guy. And then also, if you're not big on the name, he's like, he whiffed on this guy, he signed this guy for this much and stuff like that. So I think when somebody has this much experience, you can always go back and find stuff to support your theory.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, you can go, like I say, you could go one or two ways. I'd be more confident if it was Brighton, because over the last 2-3 years, I have a lot more proof of evidence that they're unearthing these gems and making big money on them. Bournemouth, I really don't know. I mean, whether Richards was looking at, Alisson and Van Dijk and all the rest of them, it's really a myth until he actually really comes out and says it. But if you look at the proof of the pudding, Bournemouth, I don't think they've really unearthed that many gems. Right, whereas Brighton have. So I mean, like I say, if it doesn't work out, it's like we have to get rid of all of them, and that's a whole new restructuring thing that would have to take place if we're literally taking all of Bournemouth's coaching staff and scouting staff or not the coaching staff, but the scouting staff. It's a big risk just to put all our eggs in one basket, I think.
I see what you. I saw that whole like Ellison and like Van Dijk and stuff, but that's almost like us all saying, yeah, that supermodel is hot. It's like he thought they were hot too. Yeah, it's like good for you. Yeah, everybody in the world thinks they're hot, kind of a thing. But I know. I look at it more like we're getting Bournemouth's guys because Bournemouth is doing so well or something like that, or that's the method to follow. I almost see it like people bringing people on that they're going to feel comfortable with in a working environment. And I almost feel like in most cases, that's a lot more important than you can grab the best of everybody. But if they're not working well together, it's still not going to work.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, it's like internationals. I mean, you can put 11 world-class players on together like Chelsea and it doesn't work out. So, yeah, I mean, in that sense, if you've got a team that works well, I just don't think Brighton or Bournemouth have shown me enough where they've done that. There really isn't that much.
But it's like apples and oranges, isn't it? I definitely understand what you're saying. I think when we think like Brighton is a good example, because I think if we talk about recruiting, we're probably all saying like Brighton does kind of a thing, because recently they sold a lot of guys. But at the same time, we probably don't hear guys that don't make it that Brighton signed. Like we only notice the guys that, oh, he's really good. They got him for $8 million. That's crazy. Like they're selling him for like 70 afterwards. But meanwhile, there's a guy in the background who's like, in the reserves, who they also probably bought for $6 million, and you never hear of him. But I know what you're saying in terms of track record. I think we would more feel like, good, they're bringing Brighton's guys. I guess the biggest concern is whether you're Brighton or whether you're Bournemouth and stuff. It's a matter of, it's a different level now. And the players you're going to deal with, negotiate with, everything like that is going to be a different level. Ryan says, hey, buddy, Chelsea's working out just fine for me anyways. But yeah, I mean, I think, is that what's your main concern, is the fact that it's Bournemouth and they're not as, I don't know, as the beam, like everybody to follow in terms of quality of players they bring in?
If I'm really going to be honest, it's the bouginess in me. I don't have any confidence in English anything. I mean, if it was a foreign scouting team and everything else, then okay, it sounds good. But I mean, it's like the guy. I can't even pronounce his name. The one that we have now, or the one's about to leave, that Klopp brought in. You know, it kind of had confidence because Klopp knew him. But with the Bournemouth lot, you know, and I think Makazi referenced it the other day. Like, you know, not enough's been mentioned that he overpriced for Ibe, overpaid for Ibe, overpaid for Brad Smith, overpaid for Solanke at the time. It's either that or he foreshadowed that it's going to be with Liverpool soon, and just made a whole lot of profit.
But hey, he can come back and be like, you guys think I overpay for Solanke? He can probably turn around Solanke right now and make all the money and then get like 5 Ibes with him too. But yeah, I know what you're saying. But like I say, I go back to what's up, Kazi? Kazi hops on over here in the morning. Since, you know, the regular Reckless Friday crew is just being reckless out and about. To be fair, I know John is working. God knows what Anan is doing.
I mean, that's a very good point. No one knows what Anan is doing. Even Anan.
He's probably just playing FIFA and like watching highlights of Thiago from like a decade ago or something.
Yeah,
where are you at with
he's
this?
He's just putting pictures up of Darwin Núñez just all over his bedroom. Wallpaper.
Where are you at with this influx of Bournemouth into the crew?
No one's ever liked the sentence "influx of Bournemouth" ever in their life. I mean, it's a funny one, this, right? Because he is highly respected in the game. That's one thing I will say. But there's an argument where, and I agree again with the Ibe thing and the Brad Smith thing, but there's an argument if you're Michael Edwards, you just want to work with someone who's sound, who's just going to give you the straight answer, which that is a part of this as well. The thing of Michael Edwards saying he's the head of football, you don't think he's going to be involved in transfers for Liverpool? Of course he is. You don't think he's going to have final say on, or like one of the says on who Liverpool sign anyway? So as much as Richard Hughes can go out and basically sit down in the meetings and stuff, Michael Edwards is still going to work with him about who the players they want to bring in. Do you know what I mean? And it's all, there's a part of this where he's sound, I quite like him. We'll just have him. Like, he's a bit of a mate and he's going to give me an honest and straight answer. And there could be a part of that as well, a little bit in the game. But listen, you know, he signed Alex Scott for 20 odd million this summer. He was meant to have a really big high ceiling. I think he was at Bristol City, weren't he? He signed Tyler Adams from Leeds for like 20 odd million, which seems like a lot of money. But the thing is, 20 odd million now is run of the mill signings, aren't they? It's not big money.
Not Liverpool.
Exactly. It's run of the mill. It's like, you know, if, for example, if Forest go down or Burnley and stuff, Burnley are going down with a £20 million goalkeeper in goal who they just signed. So 20 million's not a big sale anymore. You know, Sheffield United might go down with Ollie McBurney, who costs 20 odd million, Ryan Brewster, who costs 20 odd million. Yeah. So but what I'm getting at is that the ceiling of Bournemouth signings of 20 or 30 million, there is a few hits in there. There is a few. And Liverpool, we do have our restraints on what we can sign, and we like to work within ourselves. So who knows? I just think there might be a part where he just thinks he's sound, he's a mate, let's just get him in. And I'm actually
maybe, is that a reason? Now that you said that, I never thought of that, but maybe he's like a better fit in that way, because he's going to go after these guys that are like 20, and now he's like, ooh, I can really go after guys that are 30, 40 and stuff, you know, as opposed to, I mean, to be fair, like in summer, we talked a lot of shit about Schmatke, and we said he's not ready for this league. Like these 80 million, 100 million guys, when we missed out on Lavia and Caicedo and stuff like that. And now we're like, he went and got Endo. I mean, we talked, you know, a lot of smack was talked about him then in terms of not being able to handle like big transfers, like high dollar transfers and stuff like that. So I don't know. At the end, like I say, any name that pops up, if you are for it, you can find a bunch of names and say, look what he did. And if you're not for it, you can also go in and say, look, he looked at this guy and didn't sign him, and look at him now and stuff like that. I just feel like I say, it just reminds me of my interviewing days. It's just like, you know, you're going to hit some, you're going to miss some. When you're in the business for this long and you do this for this long, you're going to hit some and you're going to miss some. To me, I guess I just feel it's more important to have a unit that can work in cohesion as opposed to maybe getting a guy who's slightly better, but can work with the other ones, and they're going to butt heads, and they're not going to be able to get deals across the line. And like Kazi says, at the end of the day, Edwards is going to approve these. Exactly. And more importantly, there's going to be a certain restrictions in terms of like budget and stuff like that he's going to have to go by. And Edwards knows that. And I'm assuming everybody who's coming into this role kind of knows exactly what they're walking into, because Edwards said, here's what I got going. Yeah. Are you in? And then, you know,
The other part about this is, mate, the first thing that they have to do is fucking sort out the contracts for Salah, Virgil, and Trent. It's the first thing they have to do. So as much as we get that backroom staff sorted, and we want a couple of signings here and there, you know, centre half if Matip leaves and stuff, we need to get those fucking contracts sorted. So let's get that fixed first before we worry about the new signings in the summer. So
well, they still got to say that money, don't they?
I mean, listen, the money's, I always think the money's there.
Technically, yeah. Yeah,
the money's there for the right player. I've said this for previous podcasts. Liverpool are going to spend 100 million on number 6. Liverpool know they need a number 6. Liverpool don't spend 100 million pound on players. They just don't.
Yeah. But you don't think that 100 million will go to like renew the contracts for like Virgil?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So Endo's a stopgap for 3 years. Endo gives them breathing space. Endo gives them an opportunity to go, well, we'll see when McConnell's on in 2 years. That's what Endo can look at. Do you know what I mean? Or Tyler Morton come back from Blackburn, he's meant to be playing well there and that kind of stuff.
Bajcetic as well.
Yeah, exactly. Bajcetic as well. So that's what Endo does. It gives them some breathing space. But if they were going to spend 100 million there on Caicedo, the money's there. They're going to spend 50 million on Lavia. The money's there. Like, you know what I mean? So we spent 35 for Gravenberch, 14 for Endo. And by the way, McAllister was already done for 35, weren't he? You know what I mean? So that was done early doors. So I don't know, man. Again, and I agree with that. In terms of the manager, will have a say on the signings, but I think the manager, whoever's going to be Liverpool's next manager, will know he's working with the most sought after guy in football. Again, and like the guy who built this, he was the most sought after chief exec in football was Michael Edwards. He spat down with Real Madrid and Chelsea and United. He was the most, and he just said I didn't want to be a chief exec anymore. He wanted something a bit different, and he's got something a bit different. So you're the manager now coming to Liverpool. You look and go, fucking hell, they're good. And also I'm working with one of the best chief execs in world football.
Yeah, it's almost sounded like he wants also work on bigger and better things, hence the, you know, this other club that they're going to invest in and stuff like that. Like he wants to run the even bigger picture. But even when you do that, he's still going to be involved in the individual, obviously the bigger part of that picture, which is going to be Liverpool, and he's going to be a lot more involved there. Mateusz says, can't envision any concrete talks for signings until new managers confirmed. And it looks like we're almost there, right? Like we're going a step at a time. Edwards, Hughes. I mean, this guy is like a different branch, I guess. But you would think now is the time where those talks will start happening. If it is going to be Xabi Alonso, which there is no guarantee, we were talking about on Wednesday, like everybody's assuming for some odd reason, there is no guarantee. But I think the Bundesliga going the way it is almost like helps the cause of being able to talk to him earlier, because it's not it doesn't look like it's going to be a tight race like last year in the last week and stuff like that. With a month to go, it can be all like signed and sealed and stuff like that. So that's kind of like helps you negotiate earlier, because no manager is going to want to be involved in that while they're in a title race. But if it's already in the bag, then they're like, yeah, you know what, that's fine. I just got to make it to the parade, but otherwise I'm free afterwards, kind of a deal.
We're still going to the Cup final, I think.
Yeah.
You want to make a decision.
Oh yeah, the scripted final that everybody's going.
I mean,
for.
That's as well, by the way, guys, with the Leverkusen thing with Alonso, and there's a respect element for the club. The club are going for their first ever league title.
Yeah,
you don't come in and rock the boat. And by the way, you might want Frimpong for 50 million. If you've been in and rocked the boat, you ain't getting Frimpong. So there's you don't want to upset people. You don't want to rock, and that's what Michael Edwards. I think Michael Edwards is quoted as saying his biggest asset is communication with the clubs, and like his personality with agents and his relationship with agents is like his biggest seller. You don't want to rock the boat. Let them do their thing. They are going for their first league title in history, and let them do their thing, and they deserve that, by the way.
I'm actually glad you brought up that the Van Dijk, Mo, and Trent ordeal. It's almost like you were in the production meeting. That doesn't happen. But the production meeting I had by myself this morning. Here we go. Trent's contract ordeal, June 25. So we got another year of them guaranteed, and you have the whole entire summer to kind of figure this out. No indication to like any desire to sell. No indication of what he wants. I mean, I think it goes without saying what he would want. Serzi, we got blasted for even bringing it up on a Monday podcast, for God's sakes, which I feel like anybody should be able to be brought up for the right price. We talked about this in the past as well. Where are you at with this? Is there a price that you're like, yeah, if somebody comes and knocking the door with that? You know, we talked about this with Mo, like, you know, as much as we love Mo, I mean, like if somebody walks in with 250, you're like, okay, man, thanks a lot. Thanks for everything, kind of an ordeal or whatever. But is there a price that you have, or is there a situation you have, Serzi, where you're like, yeah, I can see this we can sell him then?
For emotion wise, I wouldn't sell him. But I mean, like Salah, like you can't replace Salah. So yeah, right, 250 million sounds about right, considering you can't replace him, and plus all the marketing that goes with him in the Middle East for Salah and everything else. With Trent also being homegrown, like before Bradley was there, I didn't think Trent was replaceable as a right back. But you know, and I know Bradley's young, but he's shown that he can handle it. You know, so if Trent does stay, I think he'd want to play in midfield, and I really think any other manager by club will play him in midfield. And I think if Alonso does come in and he plays the 3-5-2, whatever, I think one of our forwards would leave, and I think it would either be Diaz or Salah that will leave. I personally, I don't see how you fit Salah, Gakpo, Jota, Diaz, and Nunez into two. It just doesn't go.
I don't know. I mean, with the injury history they have, it's almost like been a necessity. I mean, look at this year. We thought the same thing beginning of the year, and now, I mean, obviously,
we play with three forwards. No, I don't think any of the teams play with three forwards.
Yeah, I don't think you're paying Diaz a whole big contract. I mean, here's the thing. I think I just throw out there Mo as an example. Obviously, it's a whole different situation because there's some loyalty to the club and ties to the club, Kazi. So Trent is not going to be. It's not going to be, oh, they're paying me more, so I'm going to go there. It's not going to be that professional of a decision, if you will. But if you're in charge, Kazi, and here's the thing, you know, we don't know what the new manager is going to play or where he would utilize, what his plans are. And that's why I think going back to what Mateusz was saying earlier, you're not going to sit down with any of these guys before you get a new manager in and see what he says. Or do you think Edwards already knows what he wants to do with these guys and is going to tell the manager, by the way, here's what we're doing with these guys?
I think there's a few things here. Number one, yes, I agree. I think it's Edwards doing the contracts and saying, well, I have to give you Salah, Virgil, and Trent. And no manager in the world is going to go, well, I didn't really fancy Mo Salah. Yeah. Like, Mo, you know, I didn't really fancy Virgil van Dijk, especially on the back of this season, or Trent. The comments here saying 100 million for Trent, is that for his left foot? Because his right foot's worth about fucking 300 million on its own. Like, have you seen the market for football players? 100 million. Yeah. Trent Alexander is 25. Who's got a ceiling higher than one of the best players in the world? Like, his ceiling is as high as anyone I've ever seen. Like, yeah. Are we serious? Are we serious?
Okay, so are you seeing that ceiling in midfield like everybody else, not as a right back? Because I don't see that ceiling as a right back.
That's fine. But his ability alone. If you take his position, his ability alone, you know your footy fella. That his ability alone is as fucking high as anyone in the world football of where he can be in 4 years, 3 years. So I think he was actually playing as one of his best seasons this season before he got injured. I thought he was excellent this season. Not defensively, I mean, I'm saying that, but again, we're always going to go back to the thing of he's going to get you 15, 20 goals, and so there's a balance. That's the argument with Trent. But for 100 million for Trent is insanity. Like, he's worth double.
Where does he fit in? I mean, if he stays in midfield, that means we have to get rid of a midfielder.
It's not that you have to get rid of. You sit on the bench and you work hard and get back in. Like, we look at City's players and we look at Chelsea.
You're going to sit a guy you're saying is worth more than 100.
No, that's Trent. I think that starts Trent everywhere. That starts Trent in every single game. But, all right, yeah, when McAllister's on the bench, we'll work hard then. Szoboszlai on the bench, then work hard and get back in.
I don't think Macca's droppable.
I know, not different why, but I mean, if whoever it is, whoever the manager chooses to sit out, that's on you to work hard and get back in. That's not on. I'm like, oh my God, you deserve to start. This isn't the NBA. This isn't
you look at Real Madrid, for example. I mean, they have the guys they bring off the bench for their midfield would just walk into 99% of midfield.
Like Julian Alvarez doesn't start for City. Yeah. He starts for every other club in the league apart from City because that's how good he is.
For Pep. I think it was any other manager in Pep, then he'll kick off.
Real
Madrid, obviously, you're playing for Madrid. That's a different, like, I'm looking at Hazard. Like,
I remember, like, mate, I'm going to go back a little bit. I remember the 4-1 game we played United away when 08-09 and Liverpool were winning, and they brought on Berbatov, Scholes, and Giggs, and it always sticks with me as a sub. And I'm like, that's not a bad choice, is it? Why can't we have the options? Why do we always have to get done? And Liverpool fans are like so being like constructed to say, like, who's going to start over him?
We like a set starting 11, don't we? right? Like everybody
Oh.
wants a set starting
Well,
11 that
I know.
doesn't deviate, but
Well, I
with the
think
number
so.
of games and the injuries, you almost have to have a solid. I mean, if we're doing well this series, because it's not a solid 11, it's a
I think
solid
it's a starting
16 to
15. I don't
18.
think it's just, I don't think it's starting. It was starting 15
okay.
because them
Yeah.
subs will come on.
You're playing
But I
3
think-
games a week. Go ahead, Sue.
So I think they will accept the bench because of Klopp. No, it just all depends on the next
That's
manager.
fair.
But
That's
there's a
fair.
point, though, if you look at Jota, though, Sergi. Jota's a perfect example. He comes in and gets you 15, 20 goals every season.
But I think what Sergi
Yeah.
is saying is
Well-
Jota is okay with sitting on the bench
Yeah.
because the manager is Klopp. Alvarez
Well-
is okay. I mean, not okay. When
Yeah.
I say okay, is
Oh, yeah.
He'll accept
maybe
it.
like content or accepting because the guy who's telling you to be on the bench is Klopp. The guy who's telling you on the
Yeah.
bench to be Pep. Are
If
you
it's
going
Ten
to
Hag,
be able
then
to
no,
get
it's
a
completely
guy
different.
Yeah.
that,
I get that.
right?
And that's what makes Klopp and Pep different to everyone else. They can have 100, 200 million pound players on the bench and they'll accept it because they know they either get on or, they've got, the managers got into their heads and they know that, they'll run through brick walls for these managers. And the ones that don't, they get shipped out, like, Emre Can and Shaqiri, but the next manager, who we don't know who it is. I don't think these like Trent will settle for the bench for 100.
I don't think Trent
deserving.
would start for every team.
It's a Bosline.
Trent would start for every team in the world. In any in midfield.
But where would he start? Like, where would they use him? I mean, going back to what you were saying, I think any manager, if I give him Van Dijk, he's a center back. You want a world-class top center back. Yep, I'll take him. If I give you Mo, the top right winger who can also play in the middle if you want him to, he not only scores goals, but he creates. Yes, I'll take him. I almost feel like if I give you Trent, like, I'm like, yeah, but wait, like if I take Trent, I would play him here because you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's as easy as like I don't think any manager walks in and says, that's fine, I'm okay with conceding goals from the right hand side.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a completely fair point, but that's on the manager then to work with them. Because if you can't let that ability walk out the door.
But that's why I'm saying, like, is that a conversation that happens before the guy comes in? Like, before you even sit with Trent, do you want to get your manager and let the manager decide? Or that's already decided, we're giving you Trent, you got to make it work?
I think it's the latter. I think it's decided. Like, we're not letting a 25-year-old with the ability that lad's got in his feet, one of the best passes of the ball I've ever seen, walk out the door. It's impossible. And by the way, this source of Romano is clearly being proven that he gets paid by clubs to fucking roll out tweets. And number two, what does the word monitoring mean? Who needs to monitor Trent Alexander-Arnold? We know who Trent Alexander-Arnold is. Real Madrid know who he is. He pocketed Ronaldo in Kiev, and Ronaldo had to switch sides. Though he knows who he is. People know who this lad is.
Yeah,
it's like monitoring the contract situation.
Exactly. We're monitoring the situation, Sergi. We're just
I think they're monitoring the contract situation. They want to see how it goes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, that's every club in the world should be doing that for Trent. Every single fucking football club should be
every club in the world doing it for probably 80% of players. Because that's your freaking job to, seek opportunities. To be able to seek those opportunities, you got to know what the hell is going on. So you got to monitor what's going on.
You don't think, by the way, you don't think Real Madrid are monitoring Van Dijk's contract situation?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's like, keep an eye on it. They're like, nope. I mean, it's almost like that probably won't happen, but you never know.
Non-starter. It's an absolute non-starter. I don't even know why. It's like, again, it's Romano. When
it's the international break, you gotta,
yeah, exactly.
We're talking about it, right? Otherwise,
I mean, I think Trent will stay. I think Trent will be the captain in 3 years. I think Virgil will stay. I think Salah's the interesting one. I pray Salah stays. I absolutely pray for all those holy.
250. I'm giving you 250
for Salah.
Are you selling Mo?
Who are you buying? Who gets me 35 goals?
I know. I just gave you 250. Go buy whoever the hell you want.
Well, I mean, name a player in world football who's better than Mo Salah that you can go and get.
I mean, yeah, but dude is what, 31? 30?
Yeah, with a body like a fucking 19-year-old.
Well, I know, but not for long.
And an injury record. This is his one best injury that he's ever had, really. Yeah. And I mean,
you know what? That's funny you say that. I was just talking about this because we're talking with my wife about like NFL, people like signing and stuff. Isn't it also playing the odds because they always say like they're signing this guy who has a great record of being? Isn't that also mean that he is due?
Yes, I know what you're saying, because there's always that famous Bob Paisley. Ronnie Moran saying, "Let the legs die on someone else's books." Like, and I think it's Ronnie Moran or Bob Paisley said that. Like, let their legs go on someone else's books.
That's what Bayern Munich did with Thiago.
yeah. But the argument is, though, for Salah, though, mate, is that this is a one-off. It's like, this is literally a one-off. If it kept happening, though, Tim, I'm with you. You might have to start looking at it a bit more and go, but this is a one-off injury. It's one-off. So it's and he scored, and you forget he actually scored against United. I forgot. It was so long into the game that I forgot he scored, because he's just that good. So, yeah, mate, I would keep Mo Salah as well. I'd give him a 4-year deal. I'd let him see out to 35 the way the shape is.
I would, but I'm just saying, like, you know, there are prices, or there's certain prices, I guess, that would make me feel like, like stop and think, as opposed to just saying no way. Like, I almost have that feeling with Van Dijk, because I feel like that is very difficult to replace. He's back to his best, and I feel like he's a player that can. Center backs, if they're smart with how they adjust their play over a year, you can get another easy 3-4 years out of Van Dijk.
Yeah. But there's an argument for Van Dijk where Konate does your running for you, but then Liverpool have a bigger issue with Konate because of his injury record. That's Liverpool's biggest problem. Is that the lad you bought to replace him is more injured than the guy you want to replace.
Konate also doesn't have the same aura as Van Dijk. And going back to the Salah point, you still haven't replaced Mane. I mean, how many times have you said, "I want Mane back"?
Oh, man.
You know, them, you know, Mane and Salah, I would have let them run out the contracts, like just keep renewing until they just die on the pitch.
The Mane was finished. Mane couldn't run. I remember I put in the chat when he moved to Bayern Munich. 15.
He can score.
You know what I mean? I agree. He was a finisher. But don't forget, when he came in, Liverpool had to change position because Luis Diaz was playing so well. You're forgetting the Paris game. Mane's the number 9.
Yeah.
Like in Paris, do you know what I mean? Which is insanity when you think about it. But his legs were gone. He was finished. But I think Mo's, fucking hell, doesn't look nowhere near done. I
think the shape that Mo keeps himself in extends his shelf life compared to any other winger.
And I always think about Mo as well, lads. I always think he's the best player in our team, but managing his minutes. So if I say this, for example, when people bring up the Slavia Prague game last week when he played 90, he didn't make a sprint in the 45. He just didn't move. He genuinely must have ran 2K in the second half. He did not move at all in the second half because he just knew himself. I'm monitoring myself. I manage myself in games. And he's very good at it. And that's what makes him so special, man. He's such a fucking footballer. And if people want to think about selling him, mate, that's fine. But my God, the replacement's got some job on his hands, hasn't he?
See, like going back to what Mateusz is saying, you're not going to need to essentially replace these guys in the traditional sense, given the potential change of it. And that's why, to me, and this is like the scenario. Let me give you guys the scenario right here. So let's say, like Van Dijk, I don't want to replace him because I feel like you can get 3-4 more years from him. Absolutely. And here's another thing that I guess that doesn't come into, we don't discuss as much, but you lost your 2 captains last offseason. You don't want to lose more. Like, you don't want to lose captains every offseason. You got to have some stability, as you have a new manager is going to need some guys to support him as leaders in the club. And I think Van Dijk is a great guy to be able to do that. But, and then same thing with Mo perhaps as well, right? In terms of like leadership and stuff like that. And obviously Trent is a vice captain, but Kazi, if I come to you and say, or if Alonso comes in and says, you know what, guys, take the 124 Trent, I'll bring Frimpong with me for 50 and we'll put 70 in the bag.
No, because I don't think the bag's playing up front. So I don't think the bag is playing centre mid. So as long as the money goes back into players and teams, then I can't really,
Can't replace Trent.
Yeah, I'm not, it's difficult, man. I need the money back on the field. I need to see the money back.
I just gave you Frimpong. He's 23 years old.
Of course.
I got you right back.
Of course, yeah, but Liverpool have other issues going on, don't we? We're losing Matip in the summer, who I think's a bit of a leader myself in terms of what he's done for the club. So do Liverpool need another centre-half? Do you trust Konate?
That's what I mean. Do you have an extra 70 grand? Now I just give you right back. And now you have another 70 to go buy a centre-back. You're not sold.
Not for Trent. No chance.
No.
So no price for you guys for Trent to change your minds.
200.
200. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you guys even envision anybody giving 200?
No, but that's the reason why. Yes, Saudi. Yeah, but that's the reason why, though. You know what I mean? That's the reason why I want Trent on the field for Liverpool Football Club, because he's Liverpool's. top 3, top 4 most talented footballer.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you guys are saying. It really depends on the new manager, and that's why I think until we know that, and even when we knowing the manager is not going to tell us how he's going to utilize, Trent or what his plan is, I would assume, just listening to that conversation with Trent, he has in his head to go more further up on the field and play midfield. It's just a matter of the new guy coming in and being able to come up with a plan that has all these guys somehow involved, a formation or a system that has them involved. And like Kazi is saying, I mean, I think you have to have like a top 18, at least a 16 or something like that these days. You can't just go with we got a great starting 11, off we go kind of an ordeal, because these guys play way too many games. International break, you guys watching? Not really?
I know Endo came back early. Their match got postponed. So
their second leg of their qualifier got postponed, so he's back.
Elliot scored twice today.
I mean, Turkey plays today. I'll watch it. Half the guys are not there. I miss watching Arda. I was watching him, and he almost scored from midfield for Real the other day. Hit the post. He was trying to chip it over the goalie from halfway, from midfield and stuff. I miss watching that dude play. So I'll see some of the young kids, but aside from that, it's a friendly, so there's really no excitement.
I like switching off, boys. I like to switch off on my breaks. I do. Liverpool have got a massive running, fella, and the less stress I can get in my life right now for this weekend, the better. Because my God, these lads are going to come back with a vengeance next week and really upset me.
I think. But
I mean, it's not for me. And I know De Bruyne and Haaland are injured.
Haaland actually playing. He's playing.
He did play. Oh, okay, but he's carrying a knock. And then the other one was Saka pulled out, didn't he? So it's just
I think all these guys are I have a knock, so that I'll play the first game and be out for the second one.
Yeah, I think there's a deal. I always think there's handshakes. I think there's deals where you play me the first, I'm going the second. Yeah. Harry Kane will not play that second friendly for Bayern Munich. We are going to win the Champions League, and you're not going. So don't worry about that. If I was Liverpool, I would let them play one and then pull as many back as you possibly can. But it's difficult, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I don't think. By the way, I also don't think our manager's like that. I don't think our manager's like that. I think he likes them to go away. So, stuff.
How about you, Sergi? Are you watching any of this? Sparky says he hates
really.
This international. Same here, but
I hate internationals anyway. Apart from the World Cup, that's something. I don't even think I watch the Euros.
I think it's the timing of this one which it upsets us the most.
It just doesn't make any sense to have it.
The timing's a killer, bro.
The timing is bad. Like I say, we were talking about earlier. I realize why they have it. It's just the final spots or whatever. But they didn't have to have those final spots. They could have gone old school, and whoever qualifies out of the groups goes if they wanted to.
For me, I think it's do this in February. I think you get your final, and then before the League Cup final, really, before the other final. Now there's an international break. I feel like that's mad. So I would do it.
Really, in the Premier League, we're kind of really screwed up in terms of having 2 domestic cups. Really, just freaking makes things a lot more difficult. If you think about it, if you take one of the cups away, which most countries, has one other cup and not 2, that's a lot of games off your schedule automatically. At least a lot of midweeks that you don't have to worry about.
I disagree. I think I like the idea of the 2 cups, but what I don't like is I think I'd get rid of replays for the start on the FA Cup. Third round replays and stuff, mate. And by the way, I know what people are going to say, but it really helps the lower league clubs. Well, isn't that a bigger actual conversation to have that a lower league clubs needs FA Cup money? By literally, if your hand goes in and pulls out the right ball, you get paid.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to look at the whole prospect of that, and you get paid anyway without your hand going in the ball with the random choice and draw Liverpool. So let's fuck that off for the start. So if you get rid of actually replays, mate, so you actually look at it, I think that's 4 or 5 rounds with this replays. I think there's 4 rounds of where you could have a potential replay, which is a lot of games. I would also bin off the 2-leg League Cup semi-final in January. It's 2 legs. I think people forget that. We went to Fulham end of January and lost 1-0, but still went through and shit. No, drew 1-0, didn't we? Diaz scored.
I think it's almost more difficult to have some of these replays and midweek games earlier in the season too.
You can put that game in Cardiff. You can put that League Cup semi-final in a one-off stadium, in a neutral stadium. You could easily do that, and it's not that difficult to do it. Instead of having 2 legs, just do a 1 neutral stadium semi-final and have a big knockout. And I think that will build up the League Cup even more. Because you're we're going down to Cardiff to play a League Cup semi against United. It's fuck me, that's all right, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That sounds like I can get involved for it, you know what I mean? So, it's tough.
Yeah, it's thoughts on messing with the England flag on like
Yeah.
I know nothing about this, and I
Yeah.
don't even know if I'm gonna care once I hear it. But what is the story? Because
Nike
obviously it's the England
changed.
flag.
Yeah, Nike changed this George's cross, so it's not red. It's like black, red, blue. They tried to make it all inclusive.
of the other countries. Yeah.
Oh, I know. What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, Kazi hates England anyway, but Cersei, I don't know if
I'm a Kazi. I couldn't give a shit about England.
There's far bigger things to worry about in this world, isn't it? Than the colour of the St. George's Cross. My biggest issue with that New England kids is that it costs £125 for a shirt.
What?
For our American cousins over here is about $150. So I think that's the biggest issue that we should have our problems with. $150.
I'm trying to think of this concept, but yeah, see, I don't know if it would fly if they tried to.
Yeah, it's not that it's changed. They've messed about with the colours. For example, like they did in 2012 for the Olympics, and like they did for Scotland previously and stuff like that, where Scotland had a lighter colour on the cross and stuff like that, like they did for England in like 2012 when we had a different colour cross. So, but now, of course, where politics is at the moment, and you know what I mean. Yeah, everything has to get ramped up to 110, doesn't it? So
yes, everybody's ready to go at all times.
At all times, yeah. You can be left wing like Ryan Giggs or right wing like Beckham, mate. They're all ready to go, aren't they? Like you can't play any other position. You know what I mean? You're left wing. That's that.
Why is that social media? This is like a great topic for our Scouser and Irishman.
Yeah, probably is.
And a Turk, by the way. But why is that? Like, is it the social media that everybody feels like they're ready to go at all times? Like they've built up. Everybody's like up to here at all times.
I always feel like with social media, what social media has done is give everyone an opinion when your opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like you can voice an opinion on something when your opinion doesn't matter. When you do not know enough about a subject. So when people go, I don't really know enough about that, to be honest, I have an opinion. We don't say that anymore. No, I have an opinion because I've seen something about this on my social media. Like, and I know what's going on. How about you shut the fuck up?
Yeah, that's probably right. Like Joe from Kentucky says, and I agree with him. Like,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's like your opinion doesn't matter. It didn't matter 20 years ago. You'd be laughed at in the corner. Your opinion doesn't matter. But what social media thinks that you have a voice and your voice matters when your voice doesn't matter. And
that's true. I think it gives like a fake sense of importance to everybody. Like I hit enter. You know?
Exactly. And I wouldn't dare like comment on any other like kind of politics in certain countries because I don't know enough about it. So I don't comment on it. But of course, we know what's going on. We've seen it on our socials, and I'm going to voice my opinion about this. Shut up.
I'll put in Germany because the German team have changed their kit suppliers from Adidas to Nike.
Yeah, that is a big thing. That's more
huge.
I can see that though, right?
He's German, isn't he? Adidas is German.
Yeah,
his name was.
That's huge.
That is big. Because isn't his brother Puma? Didn't his brother start Puma as well?
Yes.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, that is a big thing. And I understand that if you're going to change something from like 100 years old or like 80 years old.
Adidas like lowballing them though because they're German. Like, you guys are not going anywhere. And they're like, two can play this game and went to Nike, who's probably paying more money or something. I assume.
Maybe. They don't do it for free, do they? They don't make these kits for free.
I'm thinking that's what we're going to do with Trent, for example. They're like, you're not going to go anywhere. Why don't we just give you this salary and you stay, kind of a thing, thinking he's not going to go anywhere. Like the whole.
We almost lost Stevie G that way.
Yeah. Don't play. Yeah, don't rock the boat too. You know what I mean? These players understand what they're doing, kind of thing. These players are very well.
You guys think though, isn't there like a huge like if a team is giving this, Liverpool can give 80% of that to Trent, and the fact that it's Liverpool, the fact that he is a local lad would cover up that 20% difference, for example.
Yeah, it's more the Liverpool work on the bonus structure payments, don't they? So they're covering trophies that they all get weighed in. So I remember we won the Champions League and we signed Vandenberg and Adrian, I think, and everyone was like, why have we signed one? It's because we just paid them 30 to 40 million, the squad, because they all had to close in the contract that you'd all get like 2-3 million each for in the Champions League. And that's the difference with Salah's contract, I believe. Salah's on 300k a week, but no bonuses, because Salah wanted the cash up front.
Oh, you want the guaranteed money or you want the incentives?
Supposedly, like the chief execs and stuff sat down and went, the only person who's getting this contract is Mo Salah because he's earned that. Do you know what I mean? And like this is not like you don't come and like he's going to win you loads of trophies, don't worry about it because his goals will win you stuff, and that's how it works. So there's a part where if you're sense and you go, well, we'll give you 80%, fella, but you know, we're on the prosper the league here. And you know what I mean? And we can go and play back in the Champions League. And every time Liverpool's in the Champions League, we're always in the top 4 or 5 favourites to win it, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? I think Liverpool will piss the Champions League this year if we were in it. I think Liverpool will be right in the Champions League this year. I think we could beat anyone in the world. So that's the point. For
I think it becomes like on your day kind of an ordeal, right? Like if you
win trophies, you get paid.
And I think that's when the Anfield concept comes into play as well. So before we wrap up things over here, if you have not done so already, this week coming up on Patreon, coming up this weekend, the episode 2 of our show with Kazi over here and Mecca, my show with Matush over there, the Polter Gaming Duo, which we're actually recording more this weekend, and we're gonna start tackling FIFA as a like playing on the same team kind of a thing. So we'll see. Yes, we'll see how that goes. Let's see who yells at who more. And then Mecca's interview with Steven Speed. We actually just published a short clip out of it as well. It's like a really, really good chat about Steven's new book. So if you do subscribe for free right now, you still get access to this content the rest of the month. And afterwards, obviously, there are tiers. But thanks to our friend Gordo, the tiers go actually all the way down to, you can see over here, $1 a month is your starting point. So less than a cup of coffee a day bullshit. Actually, that'd be the $4.99 a month, I think, right? Because coffee is too darn expensive these days if you go to Starbucks or somewhere like that. But yeah, do join because you get access to these, and then you see if you like them and you sign up for more. So do join for that. Love the first episode of you boys with Mecca. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really good chat. So we're thinking of actually throwing some of it on YouTube as well.
We've got to be very careful what we put on YouTube. We've got to be very careful what you put on YouTube.
Yes, I know, because especially about some of the stuff we talked about. But I mean, honestly, like it was one of those things where we sat down to record an hour and ended up recording 2 hours. And probably could have recorded 6. But...
What happens on Patreon?
But hey, gentlemen, thanks a lot for hopping on. I appreciate it. Save the audience from a solo performance. The audience should probably be more thankful than I am as well. But have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the non-stress weekend. No soccer. Go do something else because it's going to be back, and it's going to be back pretty hardcore for like 2 months. We're going to be in a camp. So get ready for it. It's going to be rough. Get your workout in, bud. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. Take care.
You too. Thank you.